Hi, I'm Dr. Ben Newman. I study coronaviruses for a living. Let's answer some of your questions. So the next question is from Danielle. Yeah, hello, welcome back, Danielle. Okay, and so this question is long, and yeah, rather than read everything out, let's summarize. And I think the question will probably be right there if you're on the Facebook group. So, you've got a family, and you've got people in the family coming down. So it starts at school. You got a teacher who is out, and then you got people in the family that are coming down with symptoms that are vaguely SARS-like or also vaguely Strep-like. And I know there's been a lot of Strep going around at the same time as SARS, and frankly, if you're in a situation where you're catching strep, you could have caught you would have caught SARS if it was there. You just got lucky. So yeah, there's a chink in the armor, which in this case is school, and yeah, that's a thing we've been talking about. School is school is tough. We are infecting a lot of people and then passing it back to families. Yeah, and that's not good. Anyway, that's not the question. So the question is that some members of the family, 2 out of the 4, if I've got the number right, the total number. If not, I apologize to whoever I left out. But 2 of the 4 tested positive for strep. I think one of them was positive from one test and negative from another, which is weird, but can be. And so the question is, could this have been COVID because it was around the same time? The timing is plausible. Or was it probably not COVID because there was a positive strep test? Can you have both of these things at the same time? Would they have similar symptoms? And the answer to that is yes and yes. But so here's the caution. Back when I used to teach pharmacists over in England, we would do these wonderful things called a blood agarose plate. And the ladies downstairs were awesome at making these. They've got horse red blood cells in them, and you get the agarose cool enough that it'll set like a little jello mold, and the red blood cells won't pop in there. They'll just be nice and beautiful and pristine, but trapped. Yeah. And then the next thing you do is you cough on them, like so. And every year I would cough on these, and if you get certain bacteria coming out, like Streptococcus in particular, it has this characteristic appearance where it will just you'll have a little tiny colony of the bacteria on there, like a little white dot, and then all around it, the red blood cells will be annihilated. It'll just go clear. They will be completely destroyed. And so help me, every single year I tried it. I don't know if it was because it was winter and I was around all those, bless them, filthy students, or if it's just something that I naturally carry with me all the time. But I was always positive for hemolytic, what looked like it could be streptococcus. We'd gram stain them, and they were gram positive and little purple balls sometimes. So, yeah, you would have to do more tests to be sure it was definitely streptococcus or which type it is. There's different species, but seemed like I was a person who, if I was given any sort of test, regardless of what else I had, I would definitely have strep on top of that. And so that's possible. But at the same time, yeah, you would get some similar symptoms for all of those. And so, yeah, I think I'm with you. I think that the infection, you've done a good bit of epidemiology there. I think the infection goes from the teacher at school to the kid at school to the rest of the family based on the timings that you're saying. Yeah. I think the way that you could tell will be eventually if you get a SARS-CoV-2 antibody test or a COVID antibody test. Although that's a misnomer. It's not testing for the disease. It's testing for evidence of the virus. Yeah. But whatever. That's pedantic. That's not productive. They are starting to do those at some supermarkets here in Texas. I don't know if you have HEBs there. And it was one other chain that was doing it as well, but just in select locations. I think this is going to be the way of the future. You're going to be able to get some of these tests done in a supermarket and reasonably cheaply. Like my last round of vaccines were done at a Target, of all things. Yeah, Because yeah, they're there, they have appointments, and why not? Why not? Yeah. So yeah, as long as that rolls out in the next month or two, if you want to scrape up a little money and figure out who you're gonna push forward, send somebody in the family who had the symptoms and see whether or not they have any SARS-CoV-2 antibodies. If the answer is no, then yeah, the other things that you mentioned, respiratory syncytial virus, total possibility, as are a couple of pneumoviruses and metapneumoviruses. Bacterial infection in the throat can give you some of the same symptoms. And it's not just that one bacterial infection. There are a lot of upper respiratory bacterial infections that would also give you some range of the same symptoms. Totally depends which strain you had and how your body reacted to it. So yeah, it's a world of all kinds of stuff out there. A lot of which can make you feel kind of bad in a non-specific way. I'd be really interested to know whether or not there's any evidence of antibodies in the family. It's probably late enough that it's not going to be a good candidate for getting it done on insurance, at least until they change the insurance rules to be something that lets everybody get tested all the time, or until we don't do it through insurance and we just test everybody all the time and fund it in some other way. Where we're trying to pass the literal dollar bill buck, yeah, back and forth at the moment. And it's okay economically, but it's really bad and stupid in terms of infectious disease control. We've just got to be at the point where we can test everybody, and we are testing everybody, all the time for a month, like maybe twice a week. And we do that, we can identify pretty much all the cases, and we can get this thing shut down real fast. But that's the price, that's the method, that's the thing that we're not doing yet. And once we start doing that, you will see changes. And until then, we will be, depending on where you're living, either treading water or have slowly rising cases due to, I suspect, a combination of school and Labor Day or whatever that holiday was, September 2nd. Yeah. No, September 7th. Yeah. Anyway, thanks very much. This has been Ask Dr. Ben.